It's like rain on your wedding day. No, it didn't rain on my wedding day. Wouldn't dare. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Did I do a good undoomed voice there? How you doing? It's been a while. We all fought both here and at Political QRM, where myself and Amory do our combined podcasts and essays, etc. You might want to look it up, politicalqrm, all one word, .com. If you like what you hear here, or if you don't like what you hear here and you really want to argue about it, you can either leave comments here, because I don't actually read them, but other people do. You could go to Political QRM and you could read the texts of our essays, and there are links there to our various YouTube channels, various Twitter feeds, Facebook, all that kind of stuff, and or not, hey, it's my channel. So we've got some serious stuff going on in the campaign right now, and I don't know how to put it other than to say what I know you've heard me say before, and that is, it's going to be a long, hot summer. I mean, I remember the old days in the 60s of the various race riots, Watts and Newark and, Chi-Town, and I remember the protests and stuff outside the Democratic National Convention, again in Chicago, back then, and I remember what it was like, back in the day. Back in the day, we used to have things like water cannons and mounted horses and batons and police dogs, which you can't do anymore. I watched a scenario unfold. Today is the 4th. I watched a scenario unfold yesterday at a San Jose, or the day before yesterday. Whatever day it was. Scenario unfold where there was, some people getting hurt. I mean, physically harmed, bleeding, kind of physically harmed by protesters outside the Donald Trump rally. And I'm of the opinion they're really not Sanders supporters. I'm of the opinion they're really not Clinton supporters. I'm under the opinion that while they may be drawing some funding from those campaigns through some back shadow, I don't believe that that's who hired them. I believe what they are is some sort of reconquistadors, of the La Raza movement and the Reconquista movement, considering they were all waving Mexican flags around and holding up signs that say "Make America Mexico Again," and "This isn't your country, it's ours." You stole it from us. Well, no, we didn't steal it from you. We fought, you lost. That's how it is. You want to fight again? Well, all right. No sweat off my nose. You want to declare war and, go get the descendants of Santa Anna and, here come those Santa Ana winds. Anyway, if you want to go and get the descendants of Santa Anna and people like that and come on up and party, yeah, all right. But people were getting hurt, and I mean physically harmed. And the only cops I saw were either on the sideline watching, with everybody standing around going World Star with their cams, or there were a couple of them that pulled up to somebody who was down. A man was down, and they pulled up on mopeds, or I guess they weren't mopeds, I guess they were dirt bikes, but they were like little 75cc or 100cc dirt bikes, and they rolled up and to try and help this guy up to his feet. And I'm like, that's what you got? That's what you got? And then I saw a thing saying, the cops were tepid and tardy responding to the, wait a minute, don't you lay this at the feet of my brothers and sisters in blue. This is not something they decided on their own. You know what, we're not going to bother. This came from somewhere, and it did not come from the rank and file. This came from a chief or a commissioner or a council, or a mayor. Don't be laying that stuff at the feet of the people in blue. That ain't right. Don't hide behind them. You want to hide behind them because they've got badges and guns and will stand between you and harm, that's fine. But don't hide behind them when all you're talking to is a reporter. You had the stones, the cojones, the goyoni, the sack to make the decision to tell them to stand down, stand back, stand out of the way. Have the intestinal or testicular fortitude to stand by your decision when the reporter asks you the question. Say, hey, you know what? You're right. I'm the one who sent the order down. Fight me. Or be a Bolshevik weenie, panty waist, pusillanimous Bolshevik, as Undoomed to put it, and I'll try and be a little bit less graphic. You useless stain left from a sexual encounter. It's going to be a long, hot summer. I know. You've heard me say that before. You're going to hear me say it again. I know that. But it's going to be a long, hot summer. If this is happening now in places with beautiful weather in the first couple of days of June, what's going to happen by the time we get to Cleveland, Ohio in July for the convention? It's going to be active combat. Unless it rains, in which case, if it rains, it's still going to be problematic, but at least it won't be. And people sitting there telling me all about, this. And look, I looked at those crowds. They weren't all Mexicans. There were social justice warrior girls with the pink hair and the nose ring and the tattoos on their neck and the problem glasses. And there was a guy in a blonde mohawk that punched this other guy right there on camera, right in front of a cop, punched the guy right in the face. He didn't look very Mexican to me. Or Colombian. Or Argentine. Or Dominican. Or for that matter, even Syrian or any of that stuff, that they're sending through. You got to be careful what you ask for. You just might get it. And if you're asking for this battle to give you back California and Arizona and New Mexico and stuff, you better be careful what you ask for. You just might get it. Not the land, the battle. And I got news for you. Eric Holder and Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama aside for the fact that they gave you all those weapons, when it comes right down to facing the United States military, for that matter, when it comes right down to facing the United States citizenry, you got nothing. What do you got? Nothing. Say it again. What? Nothing. Bunch of farmers and bunch of factory workers and bunch of this, that, and the other thing against people that are either veterans of or currently serving the United States military, the greatest military force on the planet. You got nothing. You people will be dropping like flies faster than you figure out where it's coming from. So go ahead, bring it. Bring it to Chicago. Bring it to Philly. Bring it to Cleveland. In later June, in July, in August. Bring it. Because every push, Newton's law of motion, every push has an equal and opposite push in the other direction. You're going to push regular plain old Americans who want this country great again just a little bit too far. Years ago they did this stuff and another bunch of people pushed back too. You know what they were called? They were called the Molly Maguires. And you're going to go there, and you're going to have your signs, and you're going to have your flags, and you're going to decide that you're going to throw some eggs at some woman, or you're going to knock a fellow out of his wheelchair, because I ride around in one of those all day. I can tell you what it's like. You're going to go chasing after some younger person or some hit somebody in the head with their own sign to the point you draw blood, and they got blood all over their shirt. You're going to do that. You're going to be like, ha, 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 gringo. And you're going to turn around and there's going to be somebody there that's going to put you in a bag and send you home. It's that simple. Don't push. Because when push comes to shove, it's going to leave a mark. I'm telling you. I'm telling you for your own good. I'm being magnanimous here. Listen to me, because I'm telling you. As far as you social justice warrior types, you SJWs, you misguided first world problem, safe space seeking, anti-First Amendment unless it's your opinion people are concerned. You know what? When they throw a CS grenade into the crowd, it's going to get you too. And when the flashbangs start going off and the horses start coming forward, it's going to get you too. And I'd be willing to bet prison loaf doesn't taste any better to you than it tastes to anybody else. Pay attention. Take the weekend, go home, talk to your mom, talk to your dad, talk to your sisters and brothers. Turn around and decide maybe before any of that happens, you might want to dye your hair back to its natural color, take all that hardware out of your face, change your glasses to something ever so slightly more classic. Put down the Communist Manifesto, put down the quotes of Chairman Mao, put down, Mein Kampf, put down, Das Kapital. Take off your Che Guevara t-shirt, put on something nice from The Gap or Old Navy, and go back to school and put your nose in a book and learn something besides women's balance dance theater study. Go get a job and be productive. It's going to suck. I tried for years with my colleague Anne-Marie, and I tried for years with other people I've worked with and dealt with over the course of time to say, you know what, the torches and pitchforks. We've been talking about that the entire time this nation has been around. And by the way, Goldie, the reason I'm making this in my guinea tea is because that's what I feel is most important right now to put my message across. Because this is the guy you grew up with. This is the guy the rest of you grew up with. This is the guy that knows what cooks. Yeah, I know. It'd be nice to improve my circulation by sitting here in a nice, what's the style now? Gingham shirt with the, chartreuse glow-in-the-dark tie and a jacket that don't match. I know that's the style, but you know what? This is the style of a man who grew up knowing what cooks, what shakes, and what the American flag means and what it doesn't mean. Catch on, people. It's going to get warm. And unless it rains, it's going to get ugly. If I were the chief of police and the mayor and the city council in the city of Cleveland, Ohio, I would be going out to my insurance agent saying, hey, listen, let's up the coverage on our police cars. Let's up the coverage on our police department, our fire department, our first responders. Let's make sure we got all this stuff under control because this is going to get ugly. Hey, you know what? If it doesn't get ugly and we get to, past July and we don't have riots in the streets and people don't do, silly stuff like turn police cars over upside down and bash all the windows and stomp on the roofs and crap like that. Well, then you know what? So you spent a few $100 extra on some insurance that you didn't use. Look, insurance is gambling, period. It's the same thing as throwing dice or spinning a wheel. You're betting on whether or not you get it or win or lose or draw. So, you know what? You spend a few $100 extra, you cover it. That way, if something happens, you can replace the police car. That's simple. Meantime, I have a hunch it's going to happen. And I think the best thing that the city of Cleveland, as well as Philadelphia, as well as Chicago, could do is they could call all the different National Guards and Air Force Guards and Air Force Reserves, Marine Reserves, Army Reserves, whoever's got them, and get those active denial units. Either the heat one or the sound one, it doesn't much matter. Look them up, Google them. They're out there. It's safe. It's simple. It's non-lethal. You just go, and either the sound hits them or the microwaves hit them or whatever it is, and they just can't stay there. So, okay, you stand there up on the top of the Jeep, and you go, and they all go away. And once they're all out of the way and go to, out of range, and they all start to recongregate, you just go, how's that go? It goes, and they, either the sound pattern hits them or the temperature pattern hits them. Totally non-lethal. And they go away. And they say, you know what, screw this. I'm going home. You know what? Hell with this. I need a beer. I'm going home. It's called active denial. I would invest in seeing to it that somebody could be on my streets with that. Because I watched all those protests and all that other stuff the other day on television, and I think it was Sacramento. If it wasn't Sacramento, maybe it was Bakersfield. Somebody help me out. Put it in the comments. When you go down there to like and subscribe and all that stuff I'm supposed to tell you to do, put in the comments which town it was. But I'll tell you, we watched all these things happen, and in that one town, they were shooting it from the air, and that town had all the mounted cops lined up, like that. And there was a gap that they could open, a phalanx that they could open up, and a sting of cops would come out, grab the bad guy, drag him back, and the line would reclose in front of him. Oh, I said, this cop knows what he's doing. This police chief knows what he's doing. He's got it going on, this guy. But that's how it works. You either you make it work or you don't. Now you go down for look, I don't know how long California actually is, 500, 600 miles, 700 miles, 1,000 miles, whatever it is. These towns are not that far apart. You're still talking Southern California. These people are, not that many million miles apart. It's not like it's 13 light years to the next galaxy. We're talking, in the same state. And we watched that happen. And then we watched San Jose. I think it was Purdue. Maybe it was Purdue. I don't know. I know it was that same week as Purdue. But you watch these towns and you watch these cities, and then they turn around and say, well, it's Donald Trump's fault. How the hell did it get to be his fault? How the hell was it done? Well, he incited violence. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He reacted to violence. Okay, granted, maybe even slightly inappropriately, but he was reacting, not inciting. Big difference. Big difference. Come on. No, come on. You got to admit it. I don't care how left cheek your ass is. You've still got to admit he was reacting, not inciting. That given, even on the reacting as opposed to inciting, he backtracked on and said, you know what? I shut my mouth off, which, come on, face it, it's Donald Trump. Shut his mouth off. Who would have thunk, right? And he turned around, he backpedaled and said, okay. You're right. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have talked about paying his legal bills. You're right. Okay. You got me. And he stood there and he decried and denounced and, all that stuff about violence and said, that's it, no more. I don't want no more. And guess what happened? The Trump people, because there was only like one and a half occasions where somebody on the Trump team actually did something untoward toward a person from the opposition, and that was fine. He turned around and he said, okay, that's enough, no more. And everybody said, oh, okay, Donald, no problem. We won't do that no more. But now people are getting hurt by people that aren't even necessarily members of a campaign, or maybe they are. They're anarchists, and they're reconquistas, and they're SJWs, and they're, you name it. And college professors, and college administrators, and college kids, and, come on. Which, not for nothing, that's what they got nothing else, so that's their job. That's their job. It was the same job they had in 1967 and 68. It's the same job they had in 72 and 73. It's the same job they had in the 80s. That's their job. They're college kids. Look, I got a niece that's a college kid. Oh, my God. I'm not going to say her name because it shames me. Sooner or later, she'll grow up, and I'll be so proud of her, I'll spit. But until then, I'm not going to mention her name because it's a disgracia. But I understand going in that door that's her job. That's the gig. She's 20 years old. That's what she's supposed to do. The old Disraeli quote, if you're not a liberal at 20, you have no heart. You know what? Yeah, that's their job. Not every kid can be on the college Republican committee. Hell, damn few can, and even fewer want to be on the Republican committee. They all want to be, liberals and, rah-rah, sis, boom, bah, and down with the man. That's how it works. It's their job. And I'm okay with it. Ish. In the meantime, keeping in mind that it is indeed going to be a long, hot summer, let's be careful out there. Learn your roads, learn your directions, If you're going to a city you don't know, look it up, get it programmed into your GPS. Make sure that you follow whatever laws. I mean, if you're entitled or allowed, and you can, because you know me, I'm in a wheelchair. If somebody came and tried to throw me out of my wheelchair, call the coroner. I'm not being mean, but somebody comes at me with a bat, or somebody comes at me with a sign and they're swinging it back like they're going to swing it at me, this, and the other thing. I'm in a wheelchair. Guess what happens? Call the coroner. And I may have a problem with the fact that I, generally speaking, only have 22 rounds on me at any given time. But that means a lot of people going to the coroner. I may end up losing, but there's a bunch of them. Yep, bunch of them getting tags on their toes. And if they don't get me entirely, I'll put pennies on their eyes and rosary beads in their hands, and it's no sweat off my big, hairy back. Be careful out there. It's going to be a long hot summer. And on that note, God bless the United States of America.